Welcome to Madre radio station. You are listening to KZAA 96.5 FML. Estamos con la increíble, hermosura diosa Ana. And la otra hermosa hermosura, Ali. We are referring and we're just hoping to trans and kind of energy back to you as you're listening to us. So thank you. Tenemos un episodio bien rico para ustedes today. So we are talking about the 1%. What do you think that means?
Los que nos están arruinando todo.
Sí.
You know, there's the 99% and then there's the 1% that control everything.
Yes, right? And that's like really frustrating. We're also talking about the 1% of energy levels. When you are trying to live your life at 1% and you're trying to give 100%, when really your energy level is at 1%. I kind of think about it as, when you have your phone and it's at 1%.
And you're trying to do all this stuff on it?
Yes! While you're trying to find a charger.
So surprised it died? Why did you die?
Exactly.
But before we go further, I feel like I need to give you all a little explanation.
Explícate.
My face does not normally look like Quasimodo, but I got attacked by a dog on Wednesday, so I have a big old scar above my left eye, and my lip is all busted up. But Ellie did not beat me up. It was a dog. She's actually trying to convince me I look cute right now. So, I'm trying to go with the flow on that one.
Oh my gosh. You know why I beat her up? Because she called herself Quasimodo. If you're not nice to yourself, I will beat you up. No, my love. No, yeah. When Anna told me the story, I just wanted to hug and squeeze you and just go find that dog. Maldito perro.
I'm sure she thought she was just defending her home, but yeah.
No, it's difficult, and talk about that. It's like animals, they have their own mind, their own way of seeing and perceiving things. So it's really it's important to keep that safety, as because I have a dog, and that's one thing that we're always concerned.
And she's so sweet.
She's a cutie pie, but she has her moments, tiene sus momentos. So yeah, just keeping ourselves safe, but sometimes in those cases, you were just sitting there and just, it happened. But, sorry, chica. Yeah, but she looks gorgeous. And if you're listening, let me just tell you, she is glowing. She's got this gorgeous dress. She's got this beautiful peinado. And she's got this beautiful spirit. So, blessed to be in your presence, Diosa.
Glowing because I'm with you.
Are you jealous? Are you jealous of this friendship? You should be. This is what you need to. This is healthy. Mujeres, that we empower each other, we support each other,
and we encourage each other to not try to live on 1%.
Amen. So, all right, let's be honest. How many times have you been at that 1%?
I was on 1% until July of this year.
Okay, so July 2022. Mm-hmm. What happened? What was it like for you to be on 1%, and how did you change that?
So I was an executive director for an organization I'm no longer executive director for. And I was trying to prove myself to a board that no matter what I did, I wasn't going to be able to prove myself because they just didn't like what I stood for. So that burnout was, I think, clear to other people, but not clear to myself. And so even though it was a very horrific and hurtful experience, to have my position eliminated there, it's been a huge blessing for me, actually, because initially I went through a major depression for 2 to 3 weeks. But once I got through that, and I'm able to live my life now working for a new organization, actually 2 organizations that truly love and respect and value me, I'm able to live my life on, I don't know if I'm at 100% because I'm still trying to heal from that experience, but I would say I'm at 80%, which is way better than 1%.
Oh, yes. and okay, so as someone who's lived it, right? And I have my story too, so I'll share mine. Pero what are the signs, for those that are listening right now, watching us on YouTube, or, what are the signs that you're at 1%? Because sometimes you just go, and ni sabes that you're at 1%.
Well, I think for most Chicanas and Latinas, our family is really important to us. Mm-hmm. And I know with my daughter, it was to the point where I was only seeing her when I dropped her off for school in the morning, and then at night when I got home right before her bedtime to read her a story. Actually, usually ends up being 3 to 4 stories because she loves books. But to sleep, and just realizing that I had little to zero time for her. And then when I was with her, I would sometimes snap at things that I shouldn't be snapping about, because I'm not a snapper in the first place. Like, that's just not in my nature. But I realized, like, I was so stressed out that it was even making me snap at my daughter. And that's when I realized, like, there's a problem,
Yeah. That's, how awesome that you were, like, really aware of that, and so, like, this is not, it was like my code of conduct, like, I think we all have a code of conduct of, like, how we want to see ourselves, how we want the world to see us. And that's important to you. That was, like, a strong value for you. And you're like, I'm not going to step out of that value for those set. Because some people do, I think that's when I sometimes wonder, yo veo cierta gente that I'm like, I used to admire that person so much, but they've changed. They're not maybe focused on things around the community or themselves, or they don't interact the same way. And I think what happens is there's a threshold that happens when you're at 1%, that you just end up changing your code of conduct, your own boundaries, and you start reacting, but then it becomes kind of just a pattern and a set, like, new value system and a new way of being and interacting with the world. So you were like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Another big telltale sign for me was before I used to call my mom on a pretty regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I was now not only not calling her on a regular basis, but trying to avoid her calls, because I knew that once we talked, I would have to share what was going on at work with her. And I know how, like, the life that she envisioned for me is not a life that I was living at that time. Mm. And I didn't want her to feel like her sacrifices were in vain.
That suffering is also very transformative. Like, so beautiful to say, like, I want to give back to mi familia what they worked for and live the life they, like, want. And it's like, so, like, that's the generational healing right there. Yeah. Oh, darling, you're such a beautiful soul, and I love you. I love you so much. I remember you mentioned that once, and I think I want you to know that when you shared that with me, that stuck with me in the way of, like, it made me question what I was doing. Because, like, we've been friends for a long time, and then this radio show has been, like, an amazing blessing to hang out with you more. When I saw, like, when you were sharing, how you were doing those changes, esas movidas, right? You shared that specifically, and you made me question things for me in a positive way, where I started calling my mom, and I was like, why do we do this? Why are we at that 1%? Why are we okay? And, we started having these deeper conversations, and that really came about because, as you were aware, you made me aware of, like, that, muévete, go, and just get so much done. And then at the mercy of the 1%, Yeah.
Also, this show, I feel like both of us kind of admitted to each other that we've been kind of doing the show at 1% for a bit. And it's not because we don't want to give it more, but it's just because everything else in life has been overwhelming. And so we're making the commitment to each other and to you, all the listeners, that we're going to be giving you a lot more than 1% from here on out. And Siobhan Hoover is going to be joining us for a bunch of episodes too. So we're excited about that.
Isn't it funny that, like, certain people's names you just start grooving? I just started doing a dance.
Siobhan is definitely one of those names that inspire that.
Oh, I love it. Oh yeah, love. So yeah, the 1% is definitely, I think, a mí no me lo dijeron, pero me estoy dando en cuenta, like, I'm starting to become more I think more realistic about what the 1% really cuesta, like the cost of that. It was just a couple months ago that alguien me dijo, you have to take burnout serious. And I think that's what I wasn't. Like, I would talk about it.
Denial.
Like super denial. Like things were burning around me. And I'm like, I'm good. I have 1%, Yeah. Like, I'm okay. But there was a lot of warning signs around for me. And I think the way I can speak to it now as I'm recovering from being a 1%er.
Not like the capitalist 1%ers, the
Not
energy
not
1%.
The other, what about the statistics of Latinos here, right? De que, think of it as like burnout is a wildfire, like it will burn your forests, it will burn your spirit, it'll burn your air, like you stop breathing, you can't breathe because you're just constantly go, which is why sometimes, slowing down and doing meditation can be such a, struggle, because you're like, you don't have it, you really don't have it in you to slow down, and because you only have 1%, you don't have the chance to slow down. It's completely, you're just going to shut down. And that's why I kind of see burnout now. It's a wildfire in our whole part of us, like, physically, emotional, spiritual, cognitively, the way you're thinking. And then it transforms you in a different direction. Think of it as like a forest that burns down is now transformed. Now, if you want to go back to recovery, there's a difference between, a small fire and then a whole wildfire that burned a whole forest. The recovery is going to take years. It's going to take a lot of resources to go back to that plentiful forest, and the forest really is like a metaphor for your authentic self. So I'm really grateful that, our conversations had led to like the questioning. So when you planted that seed for me, I started like, wait a minute, and then coming forward and esa parte de my ego of like, I've been here talking about wellness all this time, and you said the denial.
Yeah.
Pero sí hace la diferencia to say, to be aware of it and step into like the truth and the reality of your forest is burning down. And just like when a forest burns, it impacts all around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that's part of it is no les quería dar el gusto. Because I think they were almost burning me out on purpose so that I would leave on my own. And then when they saw that I wasn't leaving on my own, they're like, okay, now we're eliminating your position. But I just wanted to be like, no, yo puedo. I can deal with all of this. Everything you throw at me, I can take it, Mm-hmm. And that's also how I saw my mom. Like, she also had really bad bosses in her multiple jobs growing up, but she always like found a way to do what they needed her to do so that she could keep her job, because her jobs, well, especially one of them, was the key for us to have health insurance. And so she's like, I have to protect this job because it gives me health insurance.
Yeah.
And that way my whole family's protected. And so I just like, I have that model of like, just keep working.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good point of like the difference between si se puede and yo puedo. Yeah. Right? I think like si se puede y, let me question if I should keep going.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to everything you're saying because, yeah, like I think it's also like our parents modeled so much that work ethic, and, our cultura también is just like todos ponemos en nuestra cosecha, So it makes sense. But I know that whole part of just like, look, I'm going to see it through.
I ain't no quitter.
Soy guerrera.
Soy chingona.
We can laugh about it now.
Thank God. Yeah. Oh.
The goddesses, the energy. See, no. And so, I think it's good that we tell our stories, that we share, and, because like everybody's having it a little bit different, but when you hear someone else going through it, like I did with you, and I was like, it made me like question.
I was like, check you out, make you move.
Exactly. exactly. And then I think that the other episode, and if I really recommend you go back to the one about the hot senora summer.
So that one did play on the radio multiple times, but I never got the video for that one, just so we will be uploading it to YouTube before we get to autumn.
Okay. Yes, that's coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talked about, we just talked about it. We're like, are you having your hot senora summer?
Yeah.
And
whatever that means for you.
Whatever that means for you. And for me, it was like cafecito and reading, like just having some coffee and reading.
Sexy time,
right? Like intimate times with like just yourself, with others that you love and care about. And I know for me, I was just like, nope, that's not happening. Oh, shoot.
That's the problem.
The environment says a lot too. I know that, I know when I'm at 1%, my car is at 1%, my phone is at 2%.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's like life talks to you. La vida te dice.
It's a reflection of you.
Yes, absolutely. And I got to the point where I started blaming, and that's not my code of conduct. I love to do. I'm a little too much into I take responsibility, and sometimes I'll take other people's responsibility. But I was getting to a point where I was like, es que es, el trabajo, es que es esta gente, mi esposo, mi mama. Like I was just, blaming
everybody and their mama.
Everybody and their mamas, So, yeah, pobrecita mi suegra. Pero yeah, and so I was like, wait a minute. I had to take back and step back and be like, you are part of this too. Like you're playing a role in this, and you're gonna have to make a huge decision. So I did. I left the school district, and that was very, very challenging because I've been, that's where I've developed about a lot who I am, and my I don't know, my services, my skills, my talents had been really wrapped up in that. And when I finally made that choice to leave, which was so difficult to make, I also realized something else as I started letting go, that the school system became a pseudo parent for me since I was a little girl. So leaving the school system was like choosing to leave a parent.
Okay.
Yeah. And that. And so I didn't realize how much and how painful it was. Like I would wake up and cry. It was like when, telling my parents, like I'm going to college, I'm leaving, and that kind of guilt and shame of like, you can't leave us. Like we need you. You need to be part of this. Who are you to be leaving? So I had little bits and pieces of that, like through different people or just, emails and exchanges. And there was a lot of guilt. And even like that shame of like, I'm walking away. Yeah. When you said that about like, I just wanted to like, prove them wrong. There were certain people that I wanted to do that too. And I felt like walking away was like them winning, like se ganaron. And then I looked back and I was like, but at the cost of my wellness, like I can't even provide my full authentic self to these amazing kids anymore. And so the cost was greater. And so, yeah, the detachment process was very, very painful. But I'm also seeing now, it's been 1 week and I can see like, oh my gosh, look at me at 5%. Yeah.
Next week you'll be at 10. And the week after that, 15.
Watch out and be like raving all over.
Yes.
But I'll see. So, that's when the world speaks to you, where you're noticing that you're not your best, because I feel like that's always like, you have to be your best, and that's just not true. That's not. Your best is determined every day differently. But there is also that point where you're like, no, I'm just really not being myself at all. I'm avoiding things, I can't even find one document because everything's scattered everywhere.
Because I thought I was going to be real chingona and clean my car. So I took everything out and now I don't know where anything is.
That was another.
My car looks clean though.
that's so true. I would start something and then couldn't finish it because shut down. 1% shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, but like organizer cars, I don't know how many of you are organizers or know people who are usually very, very messy. And then if you're a mom and you're an organizer, that's you.
Yes. Yes, it's validating. So every time like someone would come into my car and they'd be like, "You didn't have kids." I'm like, I don't.
You have a fur baby. I have to keep reminding you that.
That was a while ago before I had Kaya.
Oh.
But my car was always like, because you have like all these different projects and you just, whatever you can put in the car.
And every event, you're in charge of taking everything.
Yeah. The plus side there was like, oh my gosh, you have all this equipment. It's on my first rodeo.
Yeah, I had banners in there. There was one event that we tabled for Pride, so we also had condoms and like all this stuff. One time somebody came in my car and they were like, "Why do you have condoms?" I'm like, "I promise you they're not for me." Although safe sex is good.
Would you like some? Take some home with you.
I don't need all 100 of this. Give me time.
You can have one. You take one. Oh my gosh.
I like to laugh.
It's so good to laugh. Se necesita en este mundo. I mean, like, I know the world seems like it's crashing. There's earthquakes. There was earthquakes.
I want to eat an earthquake.
There were earthquakes in Mexico. Oh my god. Me pasó lo mismo the other day. I was actually talking to Siobhan and we were trying to meet up on State Street and she's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm on Cabrillo." Oh no, I said, "I'm on Camarillo." She's like, "Camarillo?" And I was like, No, Cabrillo. I'm sorry. I'm still recovering.
Jeez, you're...
Yeah.
I think you actually want cake. That's why you said that.
It's because
I'm going to have to get you some cake.
Amen. It has to be an earthquake.
An earthquake, okay. They actually do sell those little cups where they have like, it's chocolate cake and then they put gummy worms. And it's supposed to model like dirt.
Oh, I like that. Where do they sell those?
They're usually for kids.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll let you order.
I'm like, that's not a problem.
I'm trying to remember where
it is. Pick up Laura one of these days.
And you can pretend it's for her.
We're going to have 10. Awesome.
They're easy to make too.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, now that I am not a 1%, I can probably make it. That's another thing. I used to bake more. So I used to make this banana bread that I will make. And so, I really loved it. And it was just the way I ate, the way I dressed, like just it was different. And I think right now finding myself has been priority, which has been really weird because like a lot of me says like, what are you doing? Ponte a trabajar. Dale. Like you just lost your full-time, dependable job, everything that you've learned to get for you, for sustainability, for, like the values of, being able to provide for your family and, having sustainability, working really hard to get to a place for that. And here I am being like rejecting all of that all of a sudden. And yeah, like, and being like, oh, now you're going to, going to be on your own because I'm launching private practice and, I'm launching all these projects. And
yeah, she's a consultant. You can hire her.
But yeah, it's like I'm going against everything that I learned in school, in my family system, and yet my family's actually the one. I think they saw me so, to the apagada. They really saw it, and like there was times when my mom was like, I hate seeing you like this. And even as I left, my husband was like, I'm so happy. Like people were really happy for me. Really happy.
Yeah.
Well, I was like grieving. A lot of people were like so happy that kind of surprised me a little bit. Like
that happened to me too.
Yeah?
Yeah. They're like, it's their loss, obviously. So, whoever gets you next is going to be really lucky. And so once I told people I was with Santa Paula Latino Town Hall, they're like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." And now with the Central Coast Climate Justice Network, they're like, "Of course, like, yeah, that's a perfect fit." So, yeah, I definitely had people celebrating earlier than I was ready to celebrate, though. I was still in that grieving part too. But it was nice to hear that because I'm like, okay, maybe there is a light at the end of this very dark tunnel.
Yes, that validation, we need it. I know there's this whole like, I don't need anybody. I don't care what people think about me. Yes, and toda moderación. Like, we do need that validation from people that we trust, that will say, hey, watch out for this, but will also cheer us on in times where we can't cheer ourselves on. We need that. We need that uplifting. And talking about uplifting, we are listening to KZAA 96.5 FM LP. You're listening to Ali and Ana on Que Madre in partnership with Bienestar CCC. So Bienestar actually has changed their name. No. Actually, we're all learning together. It's been kind of a little side thing that we've been working on. So it used to be Bienestar Latinx, like X. And, we thought about it a lot and just, we want to make it much more inclusive and just really get to the point like what we actually do as an organization. So it's Bienestar, Counseling, Coaching, and Consulting. So Bienestar CCC.
Se puede.
Se puede. So we did a little play on words. So that's coming up. We're rebranding.
I like it.
Yeah.
Does that mean new merch?
New merch.
Okay, but you have to not get new merch before we get merch. For
Deal.
Madre.
Deal. Okay. We want the stickers. We want the shirts. We want the sweaters.
And chonies.
Tangas.
Tangas. I don't know about tangas though. Like, they really go up your butt and they hurt.
Yeah.
I prefer like the cheeky ones.
Those are
where
so
like
cute.
they're lacy and you can see a little cheek, but it's not like all the way through.
Yes, exactly. And then you feel good because, like, I've never felt good in a thong. It was more of like, oh, so your panty line doesn't show.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but it looks
like,
good.
I don't care if you see my panty line as long as
Yes, right? You said your pleasure is valid. Your comfort is also valid.
Yeah.
Yes. So, no more tang. Got it. Can I say that on the thing?
Yeah, that's not a bad word. Sexuality is not a bad word.
Amen. Amen. Take me to that church, girl. All right, so we're ending the show.
We still have half an hour.
Oh, wait, no, okay. So back to the 1%.
Let's talk about envisioning what 80 to 90% means.
Ooh, okay. Explain that.
So, for example, with this show, we were doing little clips and stuff to advertise and be like, let's tease you and get you enticed to watch this episode. So we're going to get back to that. We're going to do merch, as we were just talking about. And we're going to do shows on a consistent basis. Because there were some, like, sometimes we would have to skip weeks. So that's how I'm saying, like, for the show. And then for my life, I'm looking at taking more walks, exercising, eating healthy, not forgetting to eat, because I was really skipping meals a lot and that messed with my metabolism. So stopping that. What else for you? How would you envision being at 80 to 90%?
80 to 90%. I think for me, it's going to be more of the feeling, right? And how that's going, the results of that feeling are like just deeper connections with my loved ones. I was really losing that. Like, it was so bad. I like my friends from college, mis hermanas at college, we got through so much together and I forgot all their birthdays, all of them. And it was so embarrassing because I was like sitting at a table and they were like talking about their birthdays, and in the table, I'm like realizing that I had forgotten their birthdays, and it got to the point they're like, "That's just Ellie," like that was my reputation. Now it's like we don't even tell her, we don't even hold her accountable to it. That's just who she is, and I was like, "That's love," Like for me, I was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys love me so much. You're willing to take me at this 1%," and justify that I forgot your birthday is like the day you're born, But I had built that reputation with like everybody. And, times like I couldn't make it to like birthdays, I couldn't make it to, birthday parties or like bautizos, quinceañeras. They were always a no, no, no. And so I think for me, like the future round is just like, oh, I can actually like make it to things. And because I'm not I'm not even survival. Like the mode I was on was not survival. It's completely something else. It's like by choice, because right now that I'm leaving my job, that I'm, figuring things out, I'm realizing like I didn't have to work like that. Why did I choose to do that? And coming to the conclusions, like there's so much, kind of like some ego built around that for me, like it was like, there was like badges of honor for it. Like I did this and I did that. And, the validation that was kind of like that, like I'm popular, and so I really released like the relationships, and I was able to build relationships. I'm so grateful for it. I feel like I kept that intact, but the ones from my past, suffered. I have friends that I've had a long time, and just didn't talk to them. Events, really important events, like they had people that very close to them pass away, and I couldn't make it to that. Like I was like questioning, like, is this really who you want to be? Like I remember when I was younger. Have you ever read the seven laws of very successful people? Yeah. So that book was the first self-help book I read when I was coming out of college, going into City College. And it was the first book that really made me realize, like, oh, I can change. I don't have to be set in this way, and I can try to see things differently.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That one, yes, that one.
Sorry, it was bothering me. No, something's
And just that was a book that made me realize, like, I could be different, I can have different habits, but that your habits also change how you see and perceive things. I forgot why I was talking about that, but yeah, the vision.
Well, that's a huge one for me too, because I was realizing this is a pattern for years that I had. Like when I would go to birthday parties, I would forget to buy the gift until like right before the party. Mm-hmm. And then I'd be rushing to find something that was hopefully like would connect, but I always felt like, I don't know, and now I'm like, I can actually think about it and be like, oh, okay, their birthday's going to be next month. So I need to like already be on the lookout for things that, they might like.
Yeah.
That way I'm not rushing at the end, and I give a gift that actually, enjoy.
Yes.
Like you were so sweet with the gifts you gave me when we went to dinner the other day. Like I love that bracelet. I was actually wearing it on the way here, so I think it might have fallen downstairs or something. And then I was wearing the scarf that you gave me too, because I love them both so much. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. No, yeah, that's the thing. It's like that's who I am, right? And I totally can resonate. I started giving everybody gift cards, like for Christmas.
Same.
Like it's almost like feeling of just like I don't know you, and I feel like it was like I don't care to know you. Here's some money.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that really who I am? I used to be very, very thoughtful in a lot of things for myself, for my family, for, my husband at the time, he was a novio, Yeah. So I feel like that a lot was getting lost. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think the vision right now is like finding myself again and, doing what I love without the fear. There was the reason I think I was held back. Not held back. That's not true. Not held back, but like I was staying in a situation that, honestly, I'll be frank, it was toxic. Things were getting really toxic and more toxic. And I decided, I was like, I need to find myself again and remember who I was. because I couldn't remember. There was a lot of things I couldn't remember. Like, who was I? Who was Ali in the nada más se quiere bailar? You know, nada más quiere. And the only moments I would come up was actually working with you. They reminded me who I was. They reminded me. But outside my groups and my one-on-ones, I was like strategizing. You know, we have to build. You know, we have to watch out. We have to have these conversations. And not just, you know, at the district, just other, you know, other places that I was also working in. And I was like, it's not about finishing, it's about how you finish, you know? And I heard something today that totally resonates with this experience of going from, you know, leaving the 1% to like almost like nothing to build up again your energy level, your sources, your resources, internal and external. And I realized the heartbreak is a blessing. You know, the breakup is a blessing. Because I felt like that. I was breaking up. I was breaking up with, you know, my pseudo parents. I was breaking up with patterns that gave me a lot of recognition and gave me something that I had always wanted all my life. But I was breaking up with that, breaking up with these patterns, these habits that I had formed, and breaking up with the person that I was becoming, that I was starting to feel pride and looking at that person and being like, I don't want to be you. You know, I want to be Ali que llega and she's, you know, so bubbly and so fun at all different places, not just, you know, in certain areas or in certain spaces.
I feel like it's this intangible thing that I have a hard time explaining, but it's just like feeling good in your body.
Yeah.
Which I felt this weekend when I got away to the Bay Area, like to just be present in myself. Like I always felt like technically, like I know my body is here, but like my brain is already projecting into all the things that I need to do tomorrow and the next week. So I'm not able to be present with the person that I'm talking to in this very moment, you know? And so just to be able to recognize that, yes, the present is like the biggest gift, because that's where all the magic happens, right? If we're in this moment now, then we can create better futures. But if we're not actually in this moment, then that future is going to be dimmer.
Let me get some cafecito for that one. My last shot.
Her mom made this cafe de olla and it is magical.
I just took a shot of that cafe de olla because that is, you're right. You know, here we are dreaming of, se me fue la luz.
Oh, it was too much truth.
It was too much truth. The light was like, I can't even. This is my little trick for the lighting. But here we go. All good. We keep going. What you said is so true. Is like, here we are fighting to have a brighter future. Yet when we're at that 1%, and we keep operating that way, our future becomes dimmer. What you said, just like everything clicked right there. You know, so if there's something, we said a lot during the show. And one thing that I do have to say is that we are on KZAA 96.5 FM LP. You are listening to Ana and Ali, your hostess, on Que Madre radio station. Thank you for being with us.
Yay. Thank you for listening. We still have 15 minutes in the show.
Stellar. I wasn't wrapping up the show. I was just...
No, I was just going to say, like, we're going in a really good direction, and I feel like we're almost opening up even more topics that we can talk about in 15 minutes. So I'm like, how do we keep it like?
Okay, so we're gonna start kind of keep it all in this container. Yes.
Well, because that brings up all these other issues, or not issues, but like the future, and what that can be like, and what is the future? Is it like just until we die, or is it the next 7 generations? Because the impact of our decisions now, we say, like with indigenous cultures, that it always impacts the next 7 generations. So that's why there's so much pressure in like how we conduct ourselves now.
Yeah. Well, let's go there. Like if we continue being at the 1%, right? Where we operate like that, and it just makes sense. You once you get to 1%, that means that 1% is left over for you. So you scramble to do the things that you want to do for yourself. and then you shut down, right? What does that mean in 7 generations? Because, like, yeah, we're talking about also, like, that gets stored, all our fears, all our, things that trigger us, that, and then we still move forward and we don't process, gets stored in the amygdala, so like that's a response that we're, inheriting to our next 7 generations. So what do you think happens? Like, if
you're doing your psychologist talk, it's so sexy.
He's like,
remind me what amygdala is.
Well, the amygdala is. No, but what the amygdala is like this part in our brain that has, basically, it's what gets activated. We have our fight, flight, or freeze, and appease, right? So any threat response, and that could be anything for anybody. It used to be, it used to be la pantera, it used to be the bear, it used to be, war, it used to be that, right? So for us now, it could be a certain email. It could be our jobs, right? It could be a family member. It could be a person that looks like someone. Like our threat response could be activated based on your experiences and also your ancestors' experiences, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know our ancestors did not have email, but my email inbox triggers.
Yes, right?
Yeah, how am I going to get to all these messages? And how will I actually respond and do everything everyone wants me to do?
Yes, it's like, I know, like I opened my email today and there was like 300 emails.
And I was like, you're kidding me, right? This is a joke, a sick joke.
Like, tell me there was a glitch in all this.
Yeah.
They don't know. That's kind of my quote unquote consequence for not answering my email in a week. 300 just piled up. So yeah, that's triggering.
We're just in high demand,
Just so popular. I don't want to be popular no more.
Leave me alone.
You know how many times I've said that in my head? I was like, I just want to be alone. And then I have to be like, watch out, girl. That's not what you want. You just don't want to pineapple like that.
Yeah.
And, I hear people out, like, some of my colleagues are like, even my husband, he's like, I was like, how many, I was like, out of curiosity, he's like, I think I have like 500 unanswered emails. And that's not the stuff that goes into like the junk. It's like actual emails you have to respond to. So yeah, we've normalized that, but our brain doesn't normalize that.
No.
Yeah. So what happened to you? You saw your emails and then you had a threat response.
Well, this is a daily occurrence. So I just look at what seems to be the most urgent and I go from there.
Mm-hmm. That's
all I can do.
That's all you can do. Yes. And that's a lot of cognitive energy. You're just like, okay, I have to prioritize. What am I going to do?
I'm like, please text me, please. It's so much better. Call me. I'm one of those weird people that actually does enjoy phone calls still.
What do you like about phone calls? Because I get nervous on phone calls.
I like hearing people's voices. It makes me feel more connected to them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I should look at it because I feel sometimes I'm like, what am I going to say? You know what the hard?
So when you text me, I should not respond with a call.
No, you with you it's different. Certain people it's different. So it's like, okay, but there's some like new people or people that I have to have like a conversation about. I think it depends on the subject. Okay, see, this is why it's so good to process things. Like, well, actually, it depends on the subject of the matter. Whatever, if I have to like make decisions or on the spot, it'll like,
yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I was going to ask you something.
What is it about the amygdala?
The amygdala. No, but yeah, I think that, just what, so back to like what happens. Nuestra herencia, what we're leaving behind, right, is a really activated threat response. And so what that is, when, and when we have a really highly like activated threat response, we are sensitive human being, which I think is beautiful that you're actually like in tune, right?
But then do you transmit that to like your kids? Because that's what they say, right, with ancestral trauma, is that it's not like it just stops with you, it keeps going. while that is true, ancestral healing can also be the case.
Yes, exactly.
So we pass on both the good and the bad.
Yes, like for example, like when I listen to drums, it's like my heart immediately just jumps for joy. Like I can go from like severely depressed to like vamos a bailar. Yes. So yeah, exactly. So we have, that's a good point. So we have to leave, like if we know that that's being passed on, we're also can be like, we can also pass on the balance, the duality of like, you know, healing codes that can be passed along. So when we decide to be not in the 1% and make some of these changes that are hard, I have to say for me, it's been challenging. Yeah. I don't know about you. Yeah. I love your sassy. Tell me about it. We're going to do like a little grease dance over here.
Okay,
so yeah, here we are. 1%, not in the 1% anymore. Moving forward.
And it's a journey. It's not like we're already at 100, right? It took being at 1% to get to that 10% and 15, 20. It's exponential growth as we heal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that. The exponential, the abundance.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a little challenging for me to realize that in leaving this, there's actually more abundance. That your time is.
It's the most valuable thing we have.
It really is. It really is. I think that's probably another topic about, you know, resources, but time is definitely something that very, very, very important now to really, you know, that's gold. That is really, really gold. It aligns to our wellness. I'm going to take that serious.
You're giving yourself back to yourself.
Ah, yes. Yes. I'm bringing this back to me. Sí, un regalito.
Con un moño, ¿sí?
Hey, girl, yes.
I totally did not plan that at all.
Where's my moño?
It's on your
now. We're on the radio and on YouTube, Ellie. This is enough because then you'll be like, bájate.
Never.
Oh my gosh. We have a good time. We're hoping that you're having a good time as you're listening to us on KZAA 96.5 FM on Madre radio station in partnership with Bienestar CCC.
Se puede. Ellie Cortez and Ana Rosa Centino. And we are just about wrapping up. Please make sure to let us know what topics you want us and Siobhan to talk about in the future. We're always on Thursdays at 6 p.m. And we're looking forward to next show.
Eso, corazones. Well, so what was your biggest takeaway from today?
Besides the amygdala? That we matter and we need to take our healing seriously.
Mm. Yeah. I think from what you said about, you know, like the dimmed future, it was like really like, that really, una flecha right there. I was like, oh yeah, that's the one. That's right there. That's the spot.
Your flashlight couldn't even handle it.
Yeah, that was exactly.
That was too much.
I give up. Surrender. So yes, I think that's, let's surrender to our wellness and make it really, really, really important because, you know, the recovery from a wild burnout like that is just, it takes too much time. So Mother, let's take some steps back and just take care of our whole ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you for listening.
Hasta luego, mis corazones. Take care.